Welcome to the 2350 Effect.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2350 Effect. I am your co host, Damian Kinsey, the co host of the 2350 Effect, the co collaborator and co founder of the 2350 Network, the Virtual Wellness Experience, and also the Professional Work Life Balance Summit, which is coming up soon. And as always, I'm accompanied by my co host and co creator, Dr. Tanya Farron. Dr. Farron, you want to tell people a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. As Damien said, we are partners in quite a few different events that we have, as well as a network. So I am the co-host of the 2350 Effect with Damien, as well as partnering with the network and some amazing summits that we have. One coming up, the Work-Life Balance Summit, October 4th and 5th. So we're excited to be here tonight and have this show for you.
Yes. And we definitely appreciate everybody dropping a link where you're coming from, who's here, so we can see you. And thank you for your help and support. And we were off last week due to the holiday, but we did have a live show and stream. And I'd like to thank everybody for showing up for that and coming out. Some people, Dr. Leslie Flowers was there, Brian was there, Janelle was there, Dr. Marcia was there supporting, Lisa was also there supporting. Sandra, we saw your comments, Andressa was there. So many people, the name Tanique was there, Jay was there, William, and we thank everybody who was there. And if I missed your name, thank you also for showing up and coming to some of the coming last week to our event. And also we got a lot of great feedback. Christy also was there as well and appreciate it. So this week we were talking about overthinking. We do have a special guest, but we do want to get into a few things first before we bring them up and have a conversation around some things first. Dr. Farron, do you want to start this off, kick this off?
Yes, I do. I do, because I love this topic. Damien and I try to brainstorm some really great topics together when we meet to create this show for you all. And we were overthinking what we needed to create for this event. You know, we have actually two more shows before the work-life balance meet the presenters. That's a whole thing that's coming soon. You're going to love it. But we were overthinking. So we said, well, let's do a show on overthinking. So I was really starting to do some research and literally was doing research on overthinking because that's how I am. So those of you that don't know me, I'm an educator. I've been in education my whole life. And I always have to do my research. That's just who I am. And so I was really kind of blown away by what, what was out there about being an overthinker. And I just want to share a few things. I want you to think about some of these things. And those of you in the chat, please feel free, or in the audience, please join in and drop your comments and share your thoughts about overthinking. Some of these thoughts were new for me, and kind of made me feel like, well, maybe I do that, maybe I don't do that. So some of the things, like if you're an overthinker, these are some common symptoms that you may have from Ruby AI. So this is where my source came from. Okay. So I kind of threw it into an AI chat to see what came out. So kind of ruminating on past events, thinking and having a hard time letting go of past experiences or past things that have happened to people, worst case scenarios. Maybe creating scenarios or predictions about what they think might happen in the future based upon what happened in the past. So they might overthink something that they don't even need to really start thinking about. Maybe a difficult time making some decisions. And I think I kind of lie in that category there. Sometimes I could really start to overthink something. And I think to myself, you're overthinking this, right? Maybe feeling restless, and maybe it's distracting you from doing other things. And so there was a whole lot to think about with overthinking. And I love this. I love this whoever LinkedIn user. Thank you so much. That's how you're coming up for us. Overthinking and perfections are not exactly the same thing.
Yeah, it definitely is not the same thing. And that was Robert. For some reason, Robert, you're coming up as LinkedIn user. Lisa, who's always at the show, is coming up as LinkedIn user. Jackie, who paid you a compliment about your shirt, she's coming up as LinkedIn user. For some reason, people are coming up as LinkedIn user, but I'm happy about that. Overthinking is a big thing. Like, if you have a conversation with someone and they tell you that they don't overthink, they probably just don't overthink a lot of things. But there's always one thing that we overthink about.
Mm.
And I think it's so important to have that conversation and think about those particular things that we overthink and being able to have that self awareness.
Right, right. But I was really surprised to see so many different layers, right, of being an overthinker, you know. And I actually recently just watched a episode of Shark Tank where this gal created all these sweatshirts, and one of her most popular ones was it said overthinker on it. And so she was branding herself by saying, I'm an overthinker. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay if we're overthinkers. That's what makes us all different and unique, for sure.
Now, before we get fully into the topic, I do want to talk about the professional work life balance summit.
Yeah.
Speaking of overthinking, because it kind of started from this concept that you came up with last January. You was like, hey, you have time? You want to talk about it? We talked about it. Matter of fact, you explain a little bit more about it.
Yeah, of course. So it was last summer sometime, maybe in the spring, I had this really amazing idea that I wanted to do a large virtual event that had, lots. I originally wanted to just be a women's event, but I had so many male counterparts that had so much to value to give that I have met, including Damien, that I wanted to include them in the summit. And so I said, hey, what do you think of this crazy idea if we do just a summit on work-life balance? The workplace and the world is so stressed right now. I don't know that there is a profession that is not stressed. You think about doctors and you think about nurses and you think about hospitals and then what they've been through with COVID and, just the restrictions that they've had and health conditions. Just there's so much stress, teachers, educators, social workers, corporate burnout, and I really I was meeting people who were making small impacts in lots of areas. And I went to Damien and said, hey, what do you think about this? Do you think this is a crazy idea or do you think this is a great idea? And I did. I mean, I think I really said that to him. I'm like, hey, I got a crazy idea. What do you think about it? And he's like, no, I think you should do it. So I did it by myselfish last year, sort of halfway got it started and was rolling through it. And then Damien came in and said, hey, you want some help? And I was like, oh my God, I would love some help. I mean, I had a team behind the scenes, but I kind of needed this forward facing help. And so that's where the first Work-Life Balance Summit was born. And since then, we've been able to do the virtual wellness, which will be called The Experience next year. And we've done some other amazing, other like parenting summits, things like that. We've got other things in the works for next year, brewing on the stove right now. So yeah, we're excited.
Speaking of that, this is the Professional Work-Life Balance Summit. This is year 2 of it, the annual Work-Life Balance Summit. It's October 4th and 5th. It's taking place virtually. Tickets are available by scanning the QR code, or you can click the link to Creative Living Ideas and get your summit ticket. You can get a 1-day ticket, a 2-day pass. There's so many amazing presenters out there for this particular summit. And we try to make it affordable, an opportunity where people don't have to overthink it and get those work-life balance support and services where you have that work level support, you have that balance, that personal support, that family support, and all different levels of support, all put in one place. And let's be clear, work-life balance does not mean work-life 50-50. This is not the work-life 50-50 summit. Your balance can be this and this. It could be 70-30. It could be 60-40. It could be 55-45. Whatever your balance is, it is unique to you, and we understand that. So come out and join us for the Professional Work-Life Balance Summit as we embark on this. Dr. Farron, did I miss anything, or do you something you want to add? I know you have so much information about this.
Well, it is. You're right. Work-life balance. I want to also say your work-life balance can change from day to day, from week to week. And so making sure that you are doing that. And some of the things that, hi, Dr. Rowe, thanks for being here. I know she said she no longer tries to balance. She just tries to prioritize. And I think that's awesome and great to do, but some of the things, even like Damien and I, after the last summit that we did, we took a couple weeks off. It was a lot of work and we needed a little break. And that's part of that balance, and finding those times when, you're working, like sometimes there's crunch times where that balance is very off kilter, like Damien was saying, and there's times where you're able to level it out. So yeah, I'm going to try not to overthink about it.
Worries. And speaking of overthinking, not overthinking about it in the Professional Work-Life Balance Summit, we have a special guest to talk about overthinking, who has dedicated her career to having conversations around leadership development, work-life. She is also presenting at the Professional Work-Life Balance Summit. She is a 10-time author. She just finished her 10th book, which is her first fiction novel and book. She is a 2350 Network member. She does a lot of work on mindset around professional development and leadership. She hosts live events on LinkedIn. She also hosts audio events on LinkedIn. And I want to kind of welcome the one, the only Leslie Flowers to this stage, to this conversation of overthinking. Welcome, Leslie.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. You have so much wisdom, knowledge, and information about overthinking that, of course, let's have you here and talk about it.
I also want to highlight. So Leslie did the virtual wellness summit with us this past March, and then she's also part of the 2350 network with us, and has given presentations to the network already that have been very exclusive, only for people in the network, which is awesome. And now she's presenting with us again, and we are just excited to have you here. So thanks for being here on our overthinking. And you didn't overthink it any. You just said, okay, no overthinking.
And it wasn't overthinking to the point where when we had the conversation with sure, and then that's why those people out there, if you clicked it and you saw one flyer and the flyer changed, because we didn't overthink it. Leslie was gracious to say, hey, lend her expertise, and we were like, just rock and roll, let's go.
Yeah.
It's a great subject.
So you heard some of the things, Leslie, that I was doing some research on overthinking, and I ran through them because I knew there were some people in the chat that said, "Oh, I want to hear what you were learning about," because I have to do my homework. I'm always kind of going and getting my homework done, kind of a person. So some things on overthinking. What comes to your mind first when you think about overthinking, Leslie, or the topic?
Well, you're right. Overthinking can easily be transformed into simple thinking by knowing exactly what you want. So when I asked you about this, I was good either way, right? It was a possibility and I didn't overthink it. Neither did you. It was either a yes or a no, and who cares? Let's move on. So I looked at the questions. So I did a few notes, but the first thing that came up is, well, what is it? What actually is overthinking? And I won't say a lot about this because I'm sure that you'll want to ring in on this, and the audience may have some questions, or, you might get some insights, things that you already know that kind of come up for you. So please put those in the comments, because for the replays, what happens is people not only get us, but they also get you. Mm-hmm. So it really matters that you say what you're hearing and ask questions. So the opposite of overthinking is simplicity. And it's also going from confusion to clarity, which are the polar opposites. And the thing that actually controls overthinking is your ability to focus on one thing. And that's exactly in this very simple thing. There was an opportunity would the operator, here's the question you would ask, and you ask this internally without realizing it. If Leslie comes and shares with us, will it take us closer to our goal of providing good value, expanding the 23? In other words, would her contribution take us toward that effort or away? So if you brought in an MD, that might not be your choice, right? Because an MD knows about a lot of things, but may not know about overthinking. So it's really about the overthinking, and out of confusion will come clarity. And what I've discovered is we don't take much action when we're confused. So doesn't overthinking put us in confusion? It puts us in analysis paralysis. Well, if I do this, I could get this. But if I do this, well, I could get this or this. And then, you've really clogged up your conscious mind with a whole lot of information, which is really a waste of time. However, eventually, if you stick with it, you will get more clear about it, but you may not stick with it. So it's really about, what is the opposite behavior? Simplicity. How do you reach simplicity rather than confusion and overthinking? By practicing concentration. One of the biggest problems we have today is the inability to focusing on one thing, and anything that comes to distract it, you ask yourself that question. If this person comes on, is it going to take us closer or not? And if it does, you do. And if it doesn't mean that those people disappear. It's just for right now. So I'll leave you with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What do you think?
No, I like that one because I've heard a saying and I talk about it too, that I heard a long time ago that stuck with me. People in your life, they either multiply, add, subtract, or divide.
I haven't heard that.
So
Yeah.
you're kind of talking about, are you adding value, which is adding to the conversation, which is definitely a plus. That's why it was a no-brainer to have you on, and we didn't even overthink this conversation at all. It was just too easy. It was,
Does
you
that
know how
make
easy
sense?
it was?
Does that make sense though? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
what is the problem? Confusion.
Yeah.
We don't take action in confusion. What do you do about it? Well, what are you focused on? What is it you want to do? Right. And you realize then that you've got a whole bunch of stuff going on, but really stick to that one thing. And then ask the question. Ask the question when something shows up, a squirrel or a bright, shiny object, right? Because it doesn't mean that they disappear and that you never do it. But the real control comes when you can ask the question, answer it, and be disciplined to follow what you've just done. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you sorry for interrupting.
No, not at all. Because you helped me segue into like the whole overthinking. We didn't think about it so much that we didn't start the show the way we normally do. We always start with. Now, as you know, we always start with a laugh or call a text, and it always comes. And it's always funny when you catch people off guard when it comes on, because they're like, "Is my phone ringing?" Or,
That's right.
"Oh,
That's right.
yeah." So we start with a laugh, call, text. So who wants to start with a laugh, call, text? You want me to go first?
Yeah. Why don't you?
All right. So I had a few laugh, call, texts. So my first laugh, call, text was, "Hey, Dr. Farron, Leslie Flowers, want to be on? Let's work on the show." No problem. That was the easiest text ever. It was so easy. It was seamless, effortless. My laugh, call, text second one was this, and it's more so probably another conversation.
I hope it's not a text
If
from me.
someone, I thought about this. If someone needs to reach out to you and it's really important for them to reach out to you, is it more appropriate for them to call you or text you if they really want to get in contact with you? So that has been going on in my mind, and about if someone is really trying to reach out to me and they text me, are they really trying to reach out to me? but if they call me or they're really trying to reach out to me, if it's important. So I'll just leave you with that. We don't have to go into the answer because we can
That's
go
a whole
all.
nother conversation. That we're gonna have to talk about that another time. I don't know. You've got me really thinking on that one.
That was mine.
I have a variety
And it
of
was
answers.
funny too, though.
Yeah. Well, I was glad because I thought you were going to say, and then the second text was Tanya again asking me this, and then it just went downhill from there.
No doubt at all.
No, I love it. I love it.
And you guys, I saw a couple of questions here real quick that I'd love to answer fast if you don't mind. Would that be okay?
Yeah. Once
Okay,
we
good.
finish Laugh Code Text, we're going to get right into
We're
it.
go right back into it. Yes.
What's your Laugh Code Text on Dr. Farron?
Well, I have to just say, so I am wearing pink today, and thank you, Jackie, for saying that this looks good on me. I appreciate that. But today we're celebrating my mom's birthday, and my mom's favorite color is pink. And so we took my mom out. It was just us girls, and that was super cool. So it was my two daughters and my mom and I thought of inviting my brother, and then I said, nah, he can do something else with mom. It's just going to be us girls. We went to this very cool place in downtown St. Louis called The Foundry. It's a big food court with all of this like culturally diverse food, which was amazing. And then we got like one thing from every place, and then sat at the table and giggled and laughed and told stories and spilled the tea. And, it was fun, so it was really fun. So that's my laugh caller text today. So happy birthday to my mom. Her birthday's Tuesday, but happy birthday anyway. Yeah.
Nice. Happy birthday to your mom as well.
Thanks.
Leslie, you have any laugh call text this week? Any calls? Any text messages that kind of stood out, inspired you, or funny, or anything? Or it's okay if you don't.
No, and I never really actually understood this. I mean, I listen to you do it every week, but I'm not exactly sure how to formulate that. I'm confused. And to answer Angelica's question, you don't take action. There is no movement when you're confused. So I am in a state of confusion on that piece. So we can, if you want to, move right on until I understand it. Through repetition, I'm sure I'll get it, but I'm not getting it tonight.
No worries. It's all about, did you have a call that stood out to you during the week? Did you have a text message that came through and stood out to you, or something that made you laugh? But we definitely can move on to this because we did have a lot of questions in here, like you said.
We don't need you to overthink
it. We want to answer them. Okay.
Well, the other
that's
one,
your laugh. That's your laugh call text. Like, if you didn't understand the segment, it stood out, and we could definitely move on to the next thing. It made me laugh.
The one that I wanted to answer was Mariana asking if overthinking causes stress and anxiety. Absolutely. Overthinking lowers your cellular vibration. Mind is a cellular activity. It is not part of your brain, and it is not any organ. It is an activity in our cells. And you know this, like when you're thinking really exciting things, you get goosebumps. When your boyfriend or your husband or partner walks into the room and all the little hairs on your arm stand up, that's because you're thinking about love, your vibration, the cellular vibration in every cell is moving up. That's our natural state. When you think negative things and you are in confusion and you're wrestling with something, your cellular vibration drops. And that puts us into dis-ease. So the simple answer is, without being a physician, with what I know, it is every likelihood that the low vibration, which is foreign, I mean, it's normal for us, but it's not how we were built, lowers the cellular vibration, and then you feel ill, because anxiety can actually, when I used to have it, I got nauseous. So I just wanted to answer that. Now take back over your show, please. Sorry.
No worries at all, because you kind of did the work for me, because that's exactly what I was doing anyway. So you did me the favor, and I appreciate it.
Good.
She said happy birthday to your mom.
Thank
as
you.
well.
I'll tell her.
And what are your thoughts about that, Dr. Farron? Not the happy birthday to your mom. You said thank you already, but the stress of it.
Well, I can tell, and I thank you, Angelica, for being in the audience. And Angelica and I both work with young children, and I can tell you, my experience with working with young kids, when they become stressed, they become frozen, right? And especially our highest need kids that we have, and we call it, that they get into that reptile brain, even though, and a disclaimer, I'm not a neurologist. I'm not an expert on the brain, but I just know the behaviors of kids and people. They go into that freeze mode, right? Or they go into the flight mode. Whenever we get into a situation where it's tough and we're overthinking, we all react a little bit differently. And I think it takes time and age to learn about this, which I think it's important that we're talking about it tonight, because some people may be able to recognize some things that they didn't recognize before and be able to move forward and to help soothe themselves. And so it's hard for our young kids, and even teenagers, they don't know how to react when they are feeling a certain way, especially if they're overthinking something. I think about the kids that are going into college. There's so much stress about choosing the right place, being exactly perfect, graduating with honors, graduating, period, anything like that, making it through. And then they get frozen and they get scared and they can't move, they can't function. And so, being able to help them process through things so that they're not overthinking situations, and we even do that. I mean, I think there's certain things, maybe, like a household thing breaks and you're like, oh my God, this is the end of the world. Like, how am I ever going to recover? This is one thing, one moment, one step at a time, right?
That's
But
right.
we can go into that freeze and that panic. And when I was reading through this that I was talking about before, sometimes those experiences from the past come up and scare us, because maybe in the past there was something financially or socially or emotionally that occurred. And so those things trip back up into our brain. And then we have to figure out how to put them away and where do they go. So
Every time.
what do you think about that?
Well, is it okay to answer, Damien? Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, so those things come back into your mind. There's a big distinction between mind and brain, but people collapse it all the time. Those are your fears, and you have perfect belief and faith in your fear that you can't do it, because the subconscious, and there is a distinction also between unconscious and subconscious, and people collapse those together. So just to be clear, mind is a cellular activity, the brain is an organ, and it's like the switching station, right? And the unconscious mind we can't see, but the subconscious mind is where those fears come up. So we hear those voices. So we are aware that when we get a new idea for something we've never done before, that there is something stopping us. And in this kind of work, what is stopping us is the perfect faith that we will fail again. Because we fail. Not only do we fail, but the low vibration is attached to the memory. So whenever you think about it again, let's say that it's public speaking, right? And when you were 7 or 8, you were humiliated and you fought back the tears because you did it wrong. And at that point, you said, I'm not doing this anymore. Now, that was survival. But you have people getting nauseous as adults when they're even asked to public speak, because every time that came up, also came up that very low vibration, and in a visual, because these emotions and vibration are attached to the image on our mind. So when we bring it back up again, it reinforces and further embeds. And there are 6 basic fears. So the challenge with overthinking here is to, first of all, get really clear, because you will not take action if you're confused. I won't either until I get clarity. So look at it this way. If we're attracting to us, if you accept the fact that we are co-creators and We are cause in the matter of our lives, and what we want is moving toward us based on what we think about the most. If we believe that that is the case, if we are confused, we're sitting on the couch. We got a great idea. Oh my God, it could change the world, but our butt is on the couch. Well, everything is created twice. So the goal you want is also sitting on the couch. And I want you to visualize this. You get up out of the couch, your goal gets up out of the couch. You drag your feet toward it, it's dragging its feet, all based on the vibration. So if you jump up from the couch and if you get clarity and you focus on one thing and that one thing is in service, then that drives up your vibration. You think about it over and over again. You're kind of dancing along. So is your goal dancing its way to you. Now, I know that's a little out there, right? But the reality is, once you realize that who you are and what you think about the most is what arrives on your doorstep. And if it's
So that made
confused,
me think about what you said. Sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead. You have to shut me up.
It made me think about. You ever heard? We've heard the saying "head in the clouds." When you're
Mhm.
overthinking, it's like your head is in the clouds. It's cloudy. Everything is covering. You can't think. That's when the stressor starts going on. In my lived experience, and
That's
you
right.
start thinking about the what ifs. You start worrying. You start making up stuff about the
That's
scenario,
fear.
and then,
That's
like you said, you don't
all
get
your
off the
fear.
couch and you don't take action
That's right.
because you're going in that loop. And I think that was important that you said that. And it kind of makes it to the point where King was talking about. You got to get some level of help and support because sometimes when you have a blockage, you might need somebody else to unblock it for you. That's why, like, I was hearing somebody talk about validation and self validation and the need, and they were talking about certain people believing that they don't need validation from other people, and I was like, I don't think that's really true because we're looking for affirmation from somebody. Once you go to school and you fill out your test and you're looking for a and you got a B and you don't know why you got a B, you're looking for validation for that teacher to explain when you're
That's
playing
right.
on a sports team, you're looking to start, you're looking to come off the bench, you're looking for time, you're looking for some level of validation. Singers are looking for validation when they're going to have a concert and then there's nobody in the stands.
Yeah.
Even us as individuals, we have people who are responding in the comments here. No worries that it happens. It's always on replay, and we have people here, and we want them. We're doing this to not necessarily validate the need to feel accepted, but validate the need to have this conversation, to have it add value. And I think that's important when we have in these situations that it's okay to have validation from other people and individuals. And sometimes being unblocked is about getting somebody to open the door to the key, use the key to open the door where you're at so they can unlock that blockage.
Here's a
Um,
good one. Here's a good one, Damien. An accountability partner, another person who's looking for you to be successful. Don't pick someone who is judgmental. You can't see the label from inside the wine bottle.
Mhm.
Think about that.
Right.
So, really, you do
I don't
want,
drink and I got that.
I got, but the
I
validation,
got that one. I got that visualization.
right, we have to pick people that are looking for us to be great, right? We very often focus on the people that criticize us, right? But why we have as many people that adore us as criticize us by law, but it is those fears, the fear of judgment and criticism that has us looking around. Oh, they criticized me. Oh, right. We're not even looking for the people. So if you're going to have somebody to bounce the ideas off of, pick someone who's on your thought frequency. That is, you're simply looking for the success of everybody, because success and failure is everybody. We all have it in us, but what we look for expands in us. You could say that greatness is a muscle. Our greatness is a muscle that grows in direct proportion to its use. How does our greatness grow? How do we exercise that muscle? By finding the greatness in another person, not looking for what they're doing wrong, but looking for what they're doing right and saying it. That's not our normal way. So we have to actually make a choice. And that's one of the affirmations in my program that I've used for 16 years. There are 7 of them, but that's one of them. And I will tell you, I spent 2.5 years, and then I'll be quiet. I spent 2.5 years working at an emerging enterprise, corporate, teaching my work in 12-week cycles. And at the end of the year with the C-levels, there were several cohorts, but I was working with the C-levels this time. And I asked them, of the 7 affirmations that we spoke every week, which one is the one that you own? And these PhDs in C-level chose this one. I am the mirror of your greatness, and you are the mirror of mine. The greatness I see in you expands my own greatness. Now, of all the affirmations, these heady guys, right, they started looking for the greatness in their colleagues. And guess what? They found it. They found it. So, thank you. Oh, look here. Definitely pick an accountability partner that, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I just want to take a second and just thank Yvonne for being here tonight. Yvonne and I just met last week. And so thank you so much for being here. I have a new friend and I absolutely have enjoyed getting to know her. So thanks, Yvonne, for being here.
All right. So this is the normal point where you want to talk about the magazine or the network? Which one?
I'll talk
And
about
then we'll get back into questions.
All right,
so
let's
start
talk
dumping your questions in.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So this is right now, this is still available. It's on the Creative Living Ideas website. This is the Helpful Living magazine. It's the Creative Living Ideas edition of the Virtual Wellness Summit that we hosted in March. Grab a copy of it. You can grab a digital copy still. You can grab a physical copy of this magazine. It's good through March. It has 16 different presenters, I believe, in it that were at the summit, and really they go in and they share about what they talked about at the summit. So if you didn't get to go to the Virtual Wellness Summit, you can read about it in here. What was their experience at the summit? What are some of the things that they produced or showed at the summit, gave to people as takeaways. So really amazing, amazing things. These are the journals that are available through Creative Living Ideas. So you can go to creativelivingideas.com. We have a variety of different journals to help you on your journey. And so make sure that you check those out. So Great Minds Think Differently is our journal for neurodivergent population. And then we have the Working on Wellness and Kickstarting Wellness. Those 2 journals are also amazing. They're 26 weeks of guided self-care. And then the Staying Well is a journal for teens, which really helps them stay organized and, look at positive things in their life. There's a vision board in there. There's all kinds of great things in there, as well as journaling in there for kids. So check that out. Damien. Yeah. And then, so you can grab your copy on the Creative Living Ideas website. Just go to the Virtual Wellness Summit and scroll to the bottom, and it's available there. It's also available on the 2350 network page. You want to talk about this? You want me to keep talking?
So the 2350 network is our networking group where we have people. Leslie Flowers is a member of the 2350 network. We have lunch and learns. We have leadership and lemonade. We have social meetings. We have our members meetings, and we also have a virtual campus that is open 24/7 on the 2350 network campus. And here's the lobby. It is a campus. Look outside with a campus. That is me. And I can also turn that into a picture just like myself here. And it's great. It's a great opportunity where you don't have to use several links. You can just go. This seats 43 people. Here is our community room. Here is our pool room. Here is my virtual office space where I hold meetings. Here is Dr. Farron with her new office upgraded. She wasn't expecting that, and here's some of the perks of being a member. Dr. Farron, you want to bring up the website as well? on the campus, lunch and learn, social happy hour, leadership. We have book club. We have spotlight for members on the website. We have coming soon a newsletter, professional development master classes, think tanks, collaborative spaces, and we have the website, the 2350 website, which is live, up, running, which has the mission, the values. You want to scroll down some? The mission, the values of the network, the brand values, spots where you can become a member, things that we focus on and highlight. Um, this is definitely a place where we want people to get together, be together, and work together.
Absolutely. Cool. Yep. And then there's also, oops, I'm clicking on the wrong thing, calendar of events. So we do have events that are new. I like that, Damien. Nice job.
You didn't see that coming.
Prizes in here for me tonight. I love this. This looks great. So yeah, so we've got some, things already scheduled and planned out. More things will be coming as we grow with this. So that is going to be awesome. And yeah.
And you want to go to the member spotlight?
Yep.
And we'll be updating this one soon and highlighting another member. So Jamie, who is the founder of Helpful Living Ideas magazine, who helped with the Virtual Wellness Summit magazine, is a member, and she's on the member spotlight. And we're working on the Work-Life Balance Summit magazine, which will be coming soon. So look out for that too. Thank you for that. And yeah, so let's go back into overthinking. You can actually get your tickets for the Work-Life Balance Summit. You can go to Creative Living Ideas, and you'll be able to get all the information and go from there. And back to our conversation around overthinking. All right, where do you want to go?
Well, I want to talk about, once we are overthinking, right? And there's levels of overthinking, right? We can go all the way from where Kinga was saying at the beginning, oh my gosh, I go to a restaurant and the menu has so many items. I'm overthinking what I want to order. You can go from something like that to very large overthinking things like we were talking about, like, worrying about the past coming back and, those types of things. But when we are in that state, so what are some of the things that we can do to get us out of that overthinking state? And you know what? And it's funny, Damien and I have had those conversations just even as partners with some of these things that we've gone through, and we'll start nitpicking on some things. And then one of us will say, am I overthinking this? And one of us will say, yeah, you are. Okay. But we're able to recognize some of those things. And so what if you can't exactly recognize one? How do you identify it? How do you know and recognize I'm overthinking this? And then what do you do to get yourself out of the overthinking, or how do you make the decision or step away, from that,
Well, mine is simple. If I stay in the thought, it'll never get done and it's automatically not done. So I'd rather do it and fail than rather not do it and automatically fail. Because the upside is that there's only opportunity for success if I actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I live in that.
But that had to come from somewhere. So how did you learn how to do that is my point. That had to come from somewhere.
Well, I watched people be brave. And the more I was around people who were brave, I realized that a lot of times holding ourselves back is, I always say it, and I should coin this, the double Dutch effect. The rope is turning, it's going, and you don't want to jump in because you think the rope is going to hit you and hurt you. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing when we're playing that back and forth when we're ready to jump into doing something, and we're thinking about all the things that cannot happen and not be possible. And if we actually just do it and we succeed one step forward, that's the victory. It doesn't always have to be this big victory. It just needs to be a step of accomplishment. And the accomplishment can just be that the fact that yesterday you didn't do it, today you did it. Tomorrow you add another layer to it. You add another piece to it. Let's just go back to the summit. You had a brain trust for it. You had 13 people. Now it's 26 different people now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just doing it, it started with, okay, I'm going to do this for just women only.
Mhm.
I have male counterparts that I want to add to it. You did it. I got aboard when it was like, do you need help? You want help? We collaborate. Now we're collaborating on a summit, and now it's 26 people. And it's not a perfect summit. It's always going to grow and evolve because there's no perfect situation. There's no
Right.
perfect people, and it's all it's about is evolution, progress, and keep looking at those small victories. And that's how I kind of live my life.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
It's awesome.
It is awesome. Mhm. Go
Okay,
ahead.
to
Yeah.
ring in a little bit. Okay, so one of the things that I just heard Damien point to, which is one of the lessons I learned 15 years ago, if you were to go to every major city in the world and get the top 25 most successful people, wealth, health, and happiness, and ask them one question about the dream you have, the thing that you want, they would all say the same thing. And that is start now, regardless of circumstances. You are not supposed to know how to do it. We're supposed to be focusing on why. The how brings up fear because we haven't done it or we failed at it. So, why would we want to do that? Why would we want to bring up that fear by asking, well, how am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? That is fear. The why is your conscious awareness. It's the weaker. Yet with practice, it gets more strong and eventually we'll be able to outweigh the fear. But the fear is practice. So that is why you have to have a very specific thing that you want to do that you are compelled to do. So compelled and in love with the idea, just as you are with this 2350 network, it is clear to me that you're slightly obsessed. And that is a requirement because otherwise the why will come up or the how will come up and you'll go, well, shoot, I don't know how to do that. Well, I don't know how to do that. And then also not knowing every milepost along the way. This is one of the magical things that you don't want to use your current level of awareness to plot every step because as you move, your awareness grows, people and opportunities show up. And if you're stuck on the milestones that you set at that awareness, you're going to be fussing with the things that go on there. And the people that you actually attracted are going to walk right by you. So you're really talking about um, part of the 12 laws of achievement, which I've developed for which has never been anywhere, which is the checklist for setting a goal that you'll always have your best chance at achieving. It's nowhere else. And I've got the palpable results, but you do not know how to do it. The purpose of achievement is to stay motivated long enough to get there. Right. And if you pick one thing, we get back to lack of overthinking. You get to ask that question. I've got a goal and I'm going to open 2350 network. Anything that comes into your purview, you ask that question. And I know you did, even though you may not have heard it this way. But the stuff that didn't seem to fit or align, you just put it on the back burner. But the things that did, right? Because those things you knew took you closer to your goal. And then as far as I'm concerned, what there is to do. So first of all, based on what you said, Dr. Farron and Damien, you asked what to do. Well, the first thing is what you talked about is becoming aware right here, right now, that you're aware of overthinking and that it is something you can overcome. And the result of overthinking makes you feel lousy. I'm sorry, but your feet are stuck and you're in confusion and it's not a pretty place to be. And then Dr. Farron, you said, take one step at a time. And the way I can help you, honestly, you ask, well, what is the next step? On Mondays, this isn't really self-promo. This is really a resource.
No, you're good. You're good.
Everybody knows on Monday from 10 to 11:30 or so, Paulette Hallam and I do Mind Over Matter Mondays. This is exactly what we talk about. Over and over. You've got to have it repetitively, hear it differently every week, because your level of awareness about overthinking when you stepped into this room is going to be at a lower value than when you finish, because you will have learned a bunch of things. So now you know more, your perception changes, you're growing in awareness. And then, so that's on Monday. It's an audio room. And we've got a really good one. We always have something good to talk about. And then Friday mornings, you could join my live where I teach the principles of success in Think and Grow Rich, the #2 bestseller of all time. And it has all the success principles down through the ages in one place. And that's my specialty. So what is the action to take? Show up at rooms at least once a day or every other day that are talking about this stuff. And then you've got a process. That's the other reason to do only one at a time, because once you complete it, now you can go back and follow the process and repeat it. But if you have a whole bunch of things at once and you manage to get one thing done or another thing, there's no process to follow. It's haphazard and sporadic.
Right. Right.
So
Right. Yeah. No, I love that. And I agree. You were making me think a lot of things as you were talking. And, one of them for me, I have a couple things to think about here, but one of them for me is talking through things. So like when I am stuck or I am overthinking, talking through things is important. Obviously, you have to have trusted people, right? Like you were saying, those people who believe in you to have that conversation. You don't want to find a person who's very pessimistic, who is negative every time you share your ideas and thoughts with them, but someone who believes in you or that you feel safe talking to. I think that's really important, to talk through things. Just like I went to Damien, and I went to probably 4 or 5 other people who I was inviting to the first Work-Life Balance Summit and said, what do you think? Would you be willing? I'm not sure how to do this. Talking and learning and talking and learning and starting small. Like we had 12 presenters. We did it for one day. We tried one platform. We did a few things and then we have improved upon it. But I do agree. Otherwise you could get stuck in there. Now, the other thing that I think about, my kids have said this because they have reached into other kids who, not everyone is raised in the same family unit. Not everyone has cheerleaders for parents. Not everyone has cheerleaders for family members. And that is really hard. And so I want us to think about a population of people who do not necessarily have the supports. I have lots of cheerleaders in my family and I've cheered my kids on, and they have the belief and they understand if I really want to try something, I should do it. My parents tell me, you should go for it. You want to do that? You want that job? Go for it. You want that degree? Go for it. You want that hobby? Go for it. You want to run the marathon? Go for it. I'm not going to tell you not to. They may adjust and change their mind. But what about the people that don't have that? Where do they find that strength? Now, I agree. Leslie is right. Go to her rooms. If you do not have a cheerleader group, go to her rooms. Learn how to change your brain, or mind or thoughts, so that you can start building that within yourself. Leslie, though, what are your thoughts? What if you don't have that support system?
Well, the beautiful thing about LinkedIn, and a little quick promo about falling in love with LinkedIn. I mean, after all the years I've been on Facebook and LinkedIn, mostly Facebook, and looked at Instagram and these other things, like there's a lot of crap going on over there. LinkedIn is the cleanest, most intelligent, the most rich in value platform. And I'm going to say, don't you agree? Yeah. And so if you don't have it, just go to the rooms. You will meet a family. You'll meet people that think like you. You'll learn how to accept other people's point of view, because very often when we're on low levels of awareness, we're very much about being right. and that our way is the right way and someone else is wrong. But the reality is our view of the world, our perception is always changing. So why would we argue for what's right before this meeting about right? And then afterwards, we're going to have a whole different view of overthinking because we've added the concept. So that's what there is to do. If you don't have anybody, regiment yourself, right, to find. And I do a carousel every Sunday night or Monday morning, and it lists by day. Now they're not all about mindset, but then there's a guy named Gabe Leal, and he started doing a daily list of different events, and he scrolls through all the LinkedIn events. So that's what there is to do, and it's free. So my thing is take one step, do it consistently, and do it for at least 30 days. By that time, you're going to begin to build a habit. Now, you don't have perfect belief in it yet because that takes longer, but you will establish a new habit. And that's what there is. These things are not overnight. They take years. However, have a good time because children love learning. And I think that's what we're missing as adults, that creative, playful, imaginative mindset. And we replace it with worry and things that we can't control. Don't you think? So,
Yeah.
so that's really all it is. I mean, that's, you don't have to leap toward the end. You can climb Mount Everest taking baby steps. You just can't stop, right? You just have to keep moving your feet. Hi, Kinga. Thank you, dear. It's so nice to see you. Thank you, everybody.
So many amazing people in the audience. And I'm sure there's people that we can't see. That always seems to happen. So if we have not said your name or have not shown your comment, we will get to it tonight, tomorrow, go through and look at those comments. It just is it's a glitchy thing that kind of happens with LinkedIn. So sometimes we don't see them till the next day, but we are so grateful for our audience here today. And, I just have to say that the Work-Life Balance Summit and the Virtual Wellness Summit, they both have really made large impacts on some people that are in our network that are, have continued to support and gain value from the events that have been hosted by other presenters in there, and a lot of great connections. And it's valuable. I mean, it is a valuable place to go and get information. If you are, so don't overthink it. Come to the summit. Don't overthink it. Just get your ticket and go. You can buy a 1 day, you can buy a 2-day pass. Come and join us for the morning session. There's options out there to fit every budget to be a part of the summit. We have 26 amazing presenters that are here, 27 presenters, 26 sessions to choose from. They're all recorded. You're going to get the recording. You're going to be able to go back and watch the videos for 2 weeks. That's incredible that you'll be able to go back. So even if you can't make it the afternoon, you get to come back and you'll have access to see them. There's just so much value here. Again, that people have, put together for you on financial wellness, on social, like protecting your, social time, on family dynamics, work-life balance, on, just all sorts of things that you're going to gain information from. I'm excited.
Leadership, family,
yeah,
dynamics. Go ahead, Leslie.
The question to ask, right? It's really about your intention. So what if the one thing was to register for the Work-Life Balance Summit? Okay, what if that was the one commitment? Now, there is an investment, but come on, people. Like, if you believe that 26 experts in different areas of business would move you closer to your goal, whatever you're working on, then you want to make the investment. But now you got to show up. You have to make the decision to do this. It's kind of like, I'll tell you, when you go on vacation, The minute you buy your tickets, the vacation starts, doesn't it?
Right.
You start thinking about it, but the problem on the other side is like the day before you start thinking about what's waiting for you when you get home. But the idea here is as soon as you get your ticket, you start to get excited. You start paying attention. You start looking at your calendar. You start looking at the different topics because they're running in tandem.
Yeah.
So that's why the reviewing and the ability to go back and listen afterwards matters, because you can't be in two places at once. And I will tell you, it is one of the most fun platforms. I just love the platform. So thank you for letting me interrupt.
Yeah.
No worries at all. So yeah, tickets are available by scanning the QR code or clicking the link and going to creativelivingideas.com. This definitely flew by quick. We're talking about this conversation overthinking, which we always kind of close out with a quote. All right. So
Okay.
what is your quote that you want to close with?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, here we go. If one advances confidently in the direction of their dreams and endeavors to live the life they've imagined, they will meet with success in hours uncommon. Henry David Thoreau.
I love that. Will you drop that in the comments for everyone, Leslie?
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'll be glad to.
Thank you.
And basically, let me just tell you, he just says if one advances confidently, he's not saying to leap. Right? And in the direction of their dreams, just move in that direction.
Just start one step.
And endeavors to live the life you've imagined. Try. You will meet with success. Your real successes do not come from your day job. They do not come from your clients.
Thank you, Dr.
They will come from an unexpected sources because you have already started the process of attracting the right people for you to be, do, or have whatever you want.
Love that. Yes. Yes. I picked a similar quote. Greatness is not a destination. It is a continuous journey that never ends. Yes. Something along the similar lines.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, my quote is the premise of the show and the network. Don't let 10 minutes of a bad day or moment, don't let 10 minutes of a bad moment disrupt the other 23 hours and 50 minutes of your day. So that is what I'm going with. All right. So with that said, thank you both having this conversation. Thank you, Leslie, for coming out. You're definitely becoming a regular on the 2350 Effect. And when we created it, it actually was for that, for people to have an opportunity to come talk about topics, lend their expertise, build, open it up to community, and also especially people who are part of the network have the open door to come up and show up. And as you have completely displayed, the door is open, reach out, and we definitely want people to come up and enjoy themselves and talk about their expertise. So with that said, we're going to say, before we leave, we're going to leave off with the video about the, we talked about the Professional Work-Life Balance Summit, and we have a video for the Work-Life Balance Summit. Next week, we'll see you again. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for attending the 2350 Effect. If you are interested in becoming a guest or a sponsor, please contact Damien or Dr. Tanya. Join us every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the 2350 Effect.